Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Andy, we are here to talk week 13 of the NFL. 5 weeks left?
Go?
Is that right?
Yeah.
5 weeks left?
6 if you count 13.
6 if you count 13. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Plus the
Oh,
playoffs.
yeah, we have 18 weeks.
And as I was looking ahead in the schedule, and I jotted this down today. Shit's about to get weird
Yeah.
because we've got double Monday Night Football. We've got Saturday games. You've got a Christmas triple header. You've got, a few weeks of Saturday games. The whole Christmas weekend is going to be weird. Because Sunday Night Football is Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, there is a East Coasters, like a 1, 4:30, 8:15 triple header split. So
Yeah.
maybe Scott's like, wouldn't it be easier to have the family over on Saturday? God, honey, just, get this over with. Or I don't know how you need to work around this, but if you made it through Thanksgiving, you can make it through Christmas. Like, we'll open presents in the morning and they know I have to watch football all day. That's just life.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you were unmoored by watching Tim Boyle throw a pick six with 2 seconds left in the first half on Black Friday at noon, gird your loins because more weird football days and times are coming.
Got it, Nick. Good point. Remember when we'd have COVID and it'd just be like Tuesday night football next week. For no
Tuesday
reason.
at 4:00. Let's watch some football. Yeah, that was wild.
I didn't hate that.
It was fun. It's not going to be as much fun. A lot of Patriots in the old primetime slate coming up. Not sure what AI thought Patriots were going to be like in the month of December this year, but it's not going to be good, and they're going to give us a lot of it.
we talked about this. We said we can forgive Bezos, we can forgive AI for thinking that Aaron Rodgers late in the season would be exciting. Because there was a bunch of Jets games. They didn't know about the Achilles.
Yeah, free pass. Yeah, easy pass.
But what was this Patriots team's like ceiling? Was there some
8
thought
wins?
process
I don't
that
know.
like
Everything clicked? 8 wins.
Zappy versus
what was their win
Boyle.
total? Was their win total 7.5 or something? Like they were power rated as an average team to start the season. Like some of the look headlines from preseason were some of the look headlines for the Patriots preseason look insane right now. Their win total was 7.5. Their Super Bowl odds were 60-1. I don't think they're going to make it. They've been officially eliminated, right? We're in elimination season, aren't we?
Here's a fun one. And I don't know if somebody was pulling my leg. I'm going to have to actually pull up the NFL standings for this. Someone said technically, mathematically, the Carolina Panthers, who are 1-10 right now, could host a playoff game. And yeah, that's absolutely true because the leaders in the division are 5-6. They could absolutely finish 6-10 at this point. Or, whatever it takes to tie to, my goodness. Yeah, there's some teams teams are not eliminated. It's a little early to be eliminating teams.
I feel like this is probably an elimination game for the Panthers, right? If they lose this one, they can't get to 5.
This
is we're on true winner go home type of situation here with the Panthers.
I don't know if it was going to be like
the Bucks.
Who was going to be on the poster for this one? Gesicki? Like what was the? We're going to be excited. It's weird. It's weird that the Patriots got these many games. We'll live with it. We'll watch them. We'll have fun. And yeah, I don't know any other.
I bet you the Patriots' highest drafted fantasy player was probably like Ramondre Stevenson or something.
He's been pretty good, actually, fantasy.
I'm just trying to guess as to who they were thinking they were going to be promoting. That's probably
him and
Kendrick Bourne,
punts on some of the wide receivers late. That's about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into this mess.
Back in 2 quarterback leagues.
Ready to talk some football?
Yeah. Let's start with a fun
Thursday
night matchup.
Hold up. Didn't get your thoughts on the finale on Sunday and what the takeaways were there. And I didn't get your thoughts on Monday because Monday we didn't really get to let that one breathe. You got any thoughts on Chargers, Ravens, or Bears, Vikings you'd like to get off your chest?
No, the Chargers-Ravens, it's just a matchup of 2 teams that have had trouble closing games. Chargers for the better part of a decade and the Ravens for this current tenure this year. Mm-hmm. So that game ending like it did felt right.
Okay.
I think the right team won. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I kind of want to shit on your 4.5 a little. You got a great number.
Sure.
It probably should have got home in the macro sense, but looking at it, like, how many times are you going to get a 40-something missed yard field goal indoors? Yeah. Like, at that point, you were on borrowed time once you get that missed kick.
How many times are the refs not going to call pass interference on an elite quarterback who gets hit out of bounds right in front of the side judge?
I know, but that's early in the game, so it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I know, but like it doesn't feel as impactful. But like
that's how our minds work.
A 7-0 lead would have felt pretty damn good.
The refs have been missing shit like that all year.
Yeah, they have. The refs have lost the plot this season.
Bills fans might have a example for you.
Oh man, rewatching the games this last weekend, this had to be the worst ref week of the season so far. And what's weird? We're 12 weeks in, guys. But we haven't gotten into it. We haven't hit our stride.
Not mid-season
reffing football yet. We're not in season form yet. And like Sean Hockley, are we going to still let him ref games? Like what?
I don't think he should be doing play. Bears Vikes. Bears Vikes.
What was the vibe in Vikings country on Tuesday morning?
And I really do want to dog on somebody who I've. What is the past participle? I'm not even sure if I'm saying that word right.
Yeah. What is the past participle?
Of stan. Like I stand for Taylor Swift. Like
you
someone
stood.
I stood for.
Yeah.
I stood for KOC. And
stand.
Rightfully so.
It is stand. STANNED.
I know, but with the slang, I feel like it might be different.
Oh yeah. You stunned. You stunned for. Yeah, you stunned for. Well, who did you stun for? The
KOC. And I still think he has a very bright future. I think he is a very much above average head coach who has a long career ahead of him. He shit the bed. The 3 play calls that they sent out there after they got the ball back were just like, how much time do you think is left? How many scores do you think you're up? And then obviously I can't put the defensive calls on him, but he certainly has something to say about it. But the fact that they were so aggressive coming after, that whole first half, they were getting damn near sacks on every other play. It felt like a lot of pressure. Yeah. And then on that drive where the Bears ended up, kicking the winning field goal, Flores kept dropping the blitzers back into coverage and letting that's kind of poison with
the quality. Yeah.
Well, just with the quality of the coverage and also, with Justin Fields, you give him a little time. He has an arm.
Yeah.
That seemed like the wrong calls on both ends. Like, I really think the Vikings kind of fucked that game up.
Yeah.
Neither team is good. Well, the Vikings still have a 50-50 shot to go into the playoffs at this point, which is something. We'll get into the playoff pictures, but no, it felt like a bad game, but kind of, good for the Bears.
Yeah,
as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, it was
deserved to win.
Like Tice, Tice or Mays was talking about that on the Athletic Pod. Mm-hmm. You got to find ways to win some games here now if you want to start changing the culture. Still feels like Eberflus is like 50-50 to see next year. Mm. It might be hey, if we're drafting a quarterback, do we want to just start over with everything anyway?
Yeah, right. Well, the weird thing is the defense next year is going to be good. They're good now.
Yeah.
The Bears defense all of a sudden, don't look now. Like this ain't your bottom 5 Bears defensive year. This is very, very good unit.
Yeah, two top 5 picks.
Yeah.
If you go quarterback, and there's like 3 offensive tackles that are slated to be in the top 10 or near that.
Yeah.
If you can get the other tackle settled.
And you're good at evaluating offensive linemen.
Yeah, I think you did a good job with Braxton. If you can get a quarterback and another tackle to anchor things up, and then maybe find one more good wide receiver 2 in free agency. Maybe Fields gets traded to somebody for something. You can get some extra picks. Bears rebuild is actually looking pretty good. I don't love everything Poles does, but they fucking fleece Carolina, man. In hindsight, obviously.
In hindsight, I will also say this: just for no Bears this week. I don't know why we were going all in and on about the Bears necessarily, but that's fine. The Mark is still rating the defenses low.
It's like 15th or better.
Maybe
if you look at the whole of the season, like right now, they're top 10.
Time decay. You got a time decay at this point, and I would say that they are good, like top 10. And also, by the way, 10. They've been dropping pick sixes, man. Like 2 weeks in a row, they've dropped like multiple pick sixes. Like that's I know they got 4 picks, but there was other picks out there to be had against
the Lions.
Definitely some against Goff. Yeah, so they were the pick six that would ice that game. All right. Well,
it's not quite draft season, Matthew, but I am working on my first mock, and it is so much harder this time. It's damn near impossible.
I talked to some people who were in person for Ohio State, Michigan, and they came away thinking it is absurd that Marvin Harrison Jr. is not being, kind of given serious consideration for number 1 overall, regardless of your quarterback situation. They were like, this guy is a franchise changer. Did you know he's 6'4", like 215 or 220?
He doesn't look that big on field because he's so quick, I think. I don't know.
6'4" and runs a 4.4? How in the hell?
He's the big guy who has speed but gets separation and still can out physical you. He's just like the fucking total package, man. So he's very, very good. But yeah, speaking of the Bears, the Bills, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Ravens, and the Giants are all off this week. We have
there's a lot of good teams.
6 buys, which is unusual. Next week it's the Cardinals and Commanders, and that's it. We're done with bye weeks after next week. Just 2 next week. I'm not sure why they couldn't make it even, but here we are. And yeah, Thursday Night Football starts with Cowboys Seahawks in another one that kind of looked like a fun one on paper if you were looking at it last year, but the state of the Seahawks is in a very different spot, and they've had a topsy-turvy season. And I guess the Cowboys kind of had 2. I posed this question to the Deep Dive DJ Discord. I said, what is the Cowboys' best win this year? And
it's not an easy question to answer.
We kind of I mean, honestly,
there's lots of impressive wins, but you're talking about the best opponent they've beaten, right?
Like their most impressive win. It's probably, to me, their most impressive game was the Eagles game, man, that they lost, because like as a whole,
no question,
their most impressive win was probably against the 4-win Chargers. It is a really weird schedule, man.
Yeah. I'm going to give it to the Rams because the Rams got bet that day. The Rams were relatively healthy at that time. I know Stafford got hurt in that game. But that was kind of their most complete effort against a team that I think has a pulse. I don't think the Chargers really had a pulse that day.
I mean, it was on the road, so I wanted to give them credit for that.
Sort of on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fine. So, all right. Cowboys are out to 9 at some places. If this does hover around 8.5, obviously I'll throw it in some teasers. I played over 47 on this today.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is going to come down to what we get out of the Seahawks. I looked at everything. I couldn't make any good cases for the Seahawks defense right now. The Cowboys offensive line is playing at an extremely high level.
Yes.
I forgot to double check this. I don't think Dak has taken a sack in like 3 weeks now.
Not since Terrence Steele let him down at the end of that. And not since he was in the fucking red zone against the goddamn Eagles.
Yeah.
And he took that sack with 20 seconds left.
It's been a while. So, yes, as Colin says in the chat, they do get off to a fast start. They're going to get off to a fast start at home. They're facing one of the worst third down defenses in the league. This defense does not get pressure. It wouldn't anyway against this offensive line. Dak comfortable against the young secondary who's had kind of some ups and some downs. Like Cowboys might have 28 in the first half. Like I'm just kind of banking on this turning into the Giants game where, hey, DeVito scored a little bit at the end. Yeah, it's because the backups are in, man.
Yeah.
Like, this might be a bloodbath. I think this is correlated to Cowboys 8.5. I might make a little fun, 2.5 plus 260 parlay where we get Cowboys minus 10 and over 49, something like that. But I do like this. I like this.
The Dallas team total is 27.5, right?
I know. I thought about just playing that. The more I think about it, I'm like, man, I should just be hitting this in a bunch of smaller ways where it's just Dallas team total, Dallas first half team total. Yeah. I don't know. Let's try to talk of the Seahawks.
Okay,
offense,
you ready?
Because we've seen teams with legitimate threats move on this team. It's just Geno's been very inconsistent. Abe Lucas probably back. That helps.
That's kind of big, I think.
It is kind of big. Kenneth Walker out almost certainly, but I think Charbonnet is just fine. So if they can run the ball, which is something you should be able to do, it's a team that hasn't been able to run the ball very well, which is unusual for the Seahawks. But if they're able to run the ball at all, keep the drives, keep the chains moving, because not only are they bad on third down defense, they've been bad on third down on offense. They need to sort out a few of those things if they want to keep this close. But I kind of love a team with 3 good wide receivers put into a game state where they're down by multiple scores immediately. So over 47 for me.
Yeah. That's cool. I think your one half of that is super solid, which is Cowboys getting points. The other half is a little sketchy, but possible. And it does come down to the offensive line play. My current rating, by the way, for the Seahawks is so low off market. Like, I am way, way low on these guys. And I am saying that having bet them against them aggressively last week and then downgrading them even more. Right now, overall as a team, I have Seahawks rated 27th. Oh my God, that's low. That feels wrong low. They have their offense at 22 and their defense at 30. I don't know what happened to this defense, but it has just fallen apart in the spot. In place. It's decaying in place. They're kind of recently weighted results are just screaming that this unit has no juice. And that should give you an opportunity for the Cowboys to really punish them. The Seahawks offense with Abe Lucas back, maybe have a little bit of stability at the offensive line. If it doesn't this week, then I definitely would be fine next week, thinking that, okay, with the extra time to get ready and him definitely back in the fold and everybody kind of being on the right page and Geno Smith even further removed from the injuries, then maybe next week against the Niners, they're a little bit more feisty. Not that I'm going to take them to beat the Niners, but no. There's a price point where they're a bet against the Niners next week, surely, right? It's just because they're going to be healthier. Yeah, just because they're healthier and because of what just happened, right?
And the other final little caveat on this one is the fact that they both played Thursday. It's not a normal Thursday night game where these teams have had a short week to prep. We've had a full week of days in between games for both of these offenses to prepare. I mean, the Seahawks can't be realistically, if they have any glimmer of, decent amount of self-reflection or self-evaluation, they can't be going into this game saying, we're going to shut down Dak. We're gonna keep this is gonna be a low scoring, grinded out game where we win it on the ground. They have to know that they have to get their offense going here. That's the only path to win. You're not gonna hold the Cowboys to like 18 points in this game. They have to know the offense has to figure something out here.
That's the somewhat problematic thing about the Seahawks, though. They're determined to run the ball and they don't have Kenneth Walker and they can't run block, so they're kind of dead on the every running play is sort of conceded down. I might have missed something, but it's on our lads. Abe Lucas is still DFR.
Full practice though.
Yeah,
it's
but
one of those. It's one of those activates.
Can you do that day of game, or do you have to do that day before?
You have until so the Vikings game with Jefferson, they had until 3 p.m. local to activate him.
Okay.
So it sounds like
we'll know.
Indications were good,
then.
But you're allowed to do it way earlier.
Yeah, no, but they were waiting around for some reason. I just want to make sure that the time didn't come and go, and
you can activate the day of the game.
Okay. All right, thank you. I hate these little wrinkles and nuances.
So
and stupid
there was reports from SI, which I'll have to see if it was written by AI. But no, it was from a beat reporter, so they're saying he's expected. Carroll said he had a good week. He practiced the whole week, apparently. So
yeah,
it sounds
if they don't start showing some market
him to activate.
Okay, I like that. If they don't start showing some market improvement, this team's losing out and they're not going to playoffs. And they're already in deep trouble with the playoffs because they have 2 losses to the Rams, and the Rams are coming. And their schedule is not doing them any favors. Dallas this week is not going to help. San Francisco's next week is not going to help. At least they can take a deep breath after that and play Philadelphia. So very realistic chance that the Seahawks hang 3 more losses. And then at that point, is the snowball rolling out of control down the hill? Like, are we talking about Drew Lock time? Like, if you lose games that you're supposed to lose, it's still going to be a gross losing streak. Guys are going to start losing jobs. I don't know what's there's a vibe of Seahawks lose out, right?
I feel like there's a buy point on whatever brand of gum. I should buy stock in Wrigley. Hockey's going to be chomping.
There's going to be a lot of chomping. Yeah,
I think it's a good enough coaching staff to keep that from happening from the locker room to completely quit. But
it's weird that the young players
having a good coaching staff doesn't just like that's not enough of a bump to beat the Cowboys and the 49ers. Okay. Like, you're still going to lose these 2 games.
Okay.
Like, what would you put for prop bet? And I know we can just multiply the money lines, but like in your mind, give me a percentage Seattle loses the next 2 weeks.
Oh, like 80%.
So I would say 70,
85 maybe. Yeah. You're saying this week and next week, or this week and then the next 2? Yeah. Oh, even higher than. What are they on the money line right now? Aren't they like 15% to win this game?
Yeah, but you multiply it out like.
No, it's a low number, man.
No, it's not good.
It's a low number. All right. Let's carry on. The
Chargers at New England.
Yeah. The look ahead is 10.5 next week against San Francisco.
Yeah, that's
and that's gonna go up if Dallas does what they do and just absolutely,
well, I mean, look what this price is, and then I'm sure you have San Francisco couple points higher than like San Francisco is still among the elite. Like, I think I have them 2 full points clear of the next group. My numbers when I updated them, I was just starting to put them in tiers, and I'm like, oh man, I felt bad because I had Philly 5th behind Kansas City and Dallas, and I look and it's like, it was Dallas 7.14, KC 7.09. Philly 7.04. So there's like a 1/10 of a point, between those 3 teams.
Yeah.
Then I have the Niners above that, obviously, and then the Ravens not as high, but above those teams as well.
My numbers, by the way, say that there is something in the ballpark of a 78% chance they lose these next 2 games.
That's fair. I think that's. I said 70, you said 80. That sounds about right. So Chargers at Patriots. We don't know what's going on. This is kind of like the Matt Canada thing. Anyone who's a listener and caught the Matt Canada plus Kenny Pickett equals, they exacerbate each other's problems. Like, don't know like what the problem is here, because you do have quarterbacks who aren't progressing. You have a new system we're running, new system with the new people. You don't have pieces around him that are good enough in the wide receiving core. You've had some, up and downs in the offensive line, and the defense was able to hold its own for a while and then suffered some injuries. So this is just, the Patriots are bad because of some of the parts. But at the same time, like, there's a lot to fix to get this team back to where they need to be.
Yeah,
I'd be tanking like a motherfucker if I was this team. Chargers coming off a tough loss, kind of need this one to stay in the playoff race, but they kind of don't need to cover to stay in the playoff race. It's a bad team. It's still a big road number for a team like the Chargers, man.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not running. I'm not running to lay this many points on the road right now with this team.
Yeah, that said, if you
Keenan Allen, you see, he popped up in the injury report.
Yeah,
different injury.
Not good.
So that is something. Yeah. So there's 2 things about Wednesday injury reports. This is all I want to say about this game.
I have something better to say. Good.
We talk about Wednesday injury reports, and like sometimes take it with a grain of salt. This is it's a veteran rest day. It's a guy who was going to get a break anyway. They just they just write knee because his knee might be a little sore. It's been sore for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
when a guy has missed the week before and then doesn't practice at all Wednesday, that's obviously not good. You're not showing a sign of improvement to at least get out there and get some LP. But when a guy shows up with a completely different injury on a Wednesday injury report than the one that's been bugging him, that's kind of a fucker of a red flag, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like you said, Keenan Allen has been such a fucking oversized portion of their target share of their offense.
Well, he's the only guy you can count on. Yeah.
He is the only guy you can count on right now. And I feel like Guyton was banged up too. So they're in a bad place with Williams out and Johnston being not a has-been. He's going to be a never have, apparently.
He's a zero.
Yeah, he's not contributing to this offense right now. So if you made me bet this, I couldn't in good faith take the +6. I think I would probably just take this under 40.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of schemed stuff to Gerald Everett in this game, which doesn't inspire confidence in the Chargers. And also, it's
not the sexiest thing there is.
The guy scheming it is Kellen Moore working for Brandon Staley, and your whole thing at the beginning of who is it? Is it the players or the coach's system, or is it the talent? Like, what's the deal? Why are I thought you were talking about the Chargers defense, because that has been one of the more underwhelming units of the entire campaign so far. Chargers defense, I think, is fairly rated right now in the bottom 5. They are giving they gave a pretty decent effort, I thought, against the Ravens in prime time. So maybe there's some turning in the corner there, but ultimately was not enough to keep them in that game. And I think absence of Bosa is notable. Lack of corners.
No, he was
notable. Yeah,
he was a very good. He's the Keenan Allen of the defense right now because Derwin James is playing poorly.
Yeah,
Kenneth out there just like scuffling around. They can't cover with the linebackers. They're struggling in the secondary. They can't tackle at basically all 3 levels right now. It's a full ass bottom 5 defense without Bosa. So it's are you going to get enough out of the Patriots? And what if it's Zappy? Because as much as Mac Jones has been a disappointment, Zappy's not better. He's probably a downgrade.
Yeah, I just like that Brandon Staley is focused. He said the AFC is wide open, and the Chargers' road to the playoff. It starts Sunday, Andy, in Foxborough. The road to the playoffs for the Chargers. That's correct. Brandon Staley has not given up on the season. All they have to do is go and beat the Patriots, Broncos, Raiders, Bills, Broncos, and Chiefs, and they will be a 10-7 team and probably on the outside looking at it.
9's a tough. There's an outside shot that 9 does it in the AFC, but it is a very big underdog to 10.
Yes, it is very much
10,
so.
and it's like 10 with the tiebreaker for the most part. I'm going to break down the playoff races because there's so many yes/no prices that I think might be a little goofy. I'm working on that tomorrow morning. I'm excited to look into that and see what I think, because that's something I wanted to pin down. What my median expectation for the 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
5, 6, 7, 8. I just can't say it because it's from 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7 seeds are in each division as far as how many wins and losses.
Yeah,
they'll have 14-10 final. Go Chargers. Give themselves some false hope. I will probably be on this under. I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with the Patriots. I'm not going to bet that team. I don't think
this is such a good opportunity to get the offense going. I just don't trust them to do that.
No. They're completely effed. They don't have any receivers. This is the game where neither of these teams. Why is this total 40.5? Neither of these teams has receivers, right? Who's the Patriots' number 1 receiver right now? Is it really Devontae Parker? Because Parker's been awful. Bourne's hurt, right? Bourne's done.
Yeah.
Bourne's done.
He was their best.
Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton. You see Tyquan Thornton dropping passes that hit him in the hands in practice from 5 yards away. Like, these guys stink. I honestly, I don't know who their best receiver is.
You want to guess who got
Hunter Henry? Maybe. I don't know.
Bourne is. He was good during the beginning part of the season. Like, he was the guy that, for obviously until the injuries, it's like, man, this guy might be something here, and it still wasn't impressive.
I'm going to revisit
who
this.
Got the most targets. Who do you think got the most targets over the last? Well, they were off a week ago with the bye. We'll say the last 2 weeks with it the game in week, the game in week 10 and the game in week 12. Who do you think got the most targets on this team?
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry only got 5.
Oh no.
The answer is 18 targets, by the way.
What? Those last 2 weeks, the Colts game and the Giants game?
Yeah. Go ahead, Chad.
I'm trying to remember the Giants game.
Watch these.
Is it the rookie? The rookie kid?
Demario Douglas.
Demario Douglas? Was that who it is?
He now leads the team in targets for the year. Kendrick Bourne has 55 as well. Obviously, should pass him. So
here's how little I'm paying attention. Hunter Henry didn't even play last week, and Demario Douglas is hurt now.
Everything is going
suck. Yeah. These guys suck. All right. I'm going to revisit this total.
It's too high. It should be 37. I don't understand.
I got fed up and I kind of was like, I guess I missed something there. So I'm just going to stay away from that game.
I think I've talked myself into this. Is like a lean that I've talked myself into now. Atlanta, New York Jets. Speaking of low totals. Yeah, he is concussed.
I have not been watching the Patriots, so I'm not going to bet that game in the end. Don't count that against my record. I'm not betting that one. Wow. 34 points here. That's the total of this game.
There are
NFL game, right?
That have ticked down to 33.5.
Oh my god.
So Ritter versus Boyle.
Yeah.
The Falcons ran for like 250 damn yards last week. This is a tougher defense. This is on the road. They still have good enough players and the scheme to move on this defense on the ground and not let Ritter things up. You should probably win this game. So it feels like a game they'll lose, right?
Sure.
Because it's the Falcons and that's what they do. I really do not want any part of this because laying points on the road with the Falcons feels ishy. This is very much in the shower fart conversation.
Yeah.
It is the Jets. But I mean Boyle has some weapons to throw too. You get a good running back, you get a good wide receiver. The offensive line is messy, and he's not any good. I think the market was generally downgrading about 2 points from Zach to Tim last week. So just looking at my numbers, this total is probably where it should be, maybe even a little high. I mean,
Falcons defense could pitch a shutout here. That wouldn't shock me.
I don't make the Falcons this big of a favorite. I still have New York anchored high because of their defense still can go out there and play really well.
Yeah. You want to play a quick game?
Yes.
So the Jets the Jets offensive line last week, they were fully healthy. In fact, the guys that started the game played all 58 offensive snaps. I'm going to set the over under. I'm going to set the over under on number of players you can name on that offensive line at 1.5. Can you name 2 of the offensive linemen for the Jets?
Oh God, why can't I think of the center's name? Okay, Elijah Vera Tucker.
Nope, he was not available last week.
Oh my God, why can't I think of the?
Can you name one? Can you get one? Did I overshoot this big time?
You overshot me here because I haven't.
I could have come up with one. That's why I set it at 1.5. Okay, ready? The starting center is rookie Joe Tippmann.
Tippmann, yes, this is what.
The starting guards were Laken Tomlinson, the great Laken Tomlinson, still in the league, and a player named Xavier Newman Johnson played the other starting guard position for the Jets. So that's a nice interior of Tippmann, Newman Johnson, Tomlinson. Your tackles for the New York Jets were Max Mitchell and somebody named Carter Warren. These are not computer generated.
I don't feel as bad now. I don't feel as bad.
No, they're so bad.
I should have got Tippmann. That's
Tippmann. You should have got Tippmann or Tomlinson, I think. But only because
Tomlinson because he's been around.
Tomlinson because he's been around. I mean, he's been talked about a little bit because he's like, whew, what a unit, man. Xavier Newman Johnson, Max Mitchell, and Carter Warren are starting every snap for the Jets on the offensive line. Well done, team.
You know how they say dogs and their owners start to look alike?
Sure.
It's kind of the same thing with like an offensive line and a quarterback. Like it's fine. They mesh well. These are not only were these guys all starting for the Jets, the offensive line, all 5 of them were writers for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, Dave, were those SI writers? Yeah, that's good.
Oh,
that's
geez,
good, guys.
he got me.
He got me before. Yes. All right, hey, so real quick, it's more fun talking about the futility of the Jets offensive line than it is talking about the absolute cream fest that was going on with Aaron Rodgers returning to practice today, Andy. Holy shit. There is no content on earth I want to see less than a slow-mo version of Aaron Rodgers throwing a ball into space. That is the last thing on earth I am interested in seeing. That is how pathetic this franchise is, that them and the people that cover them are so thirsty for any coverage that is not, this team is a miserable fucking disaster, that they will go and find the best throw they can find, slow it down and say, yeah, he's back, Andy. He's back. You know who's not playing football this year? Aaron Rodgers. He's not playing. He's not playing. He's not playing.
He's made me look like a fool before. I don't think he has it in him this time. The only way I think we could do it if we could get Dr. Fauci to come out and publicly say that like no one can come back from an Achilles.
Cannot be. It's against medical science. Says it's impossible. Yeah, he'll be
starting this week. He'd be in the Johnson's office. No, it's one of the. Yeah, he loves the attention. It's fine, whatever. It's giving the fan base something. Honestly, I'm more okay with it than you because it's giving the fan base a little bit of hope because I feel they had such high expectations for this year, man.
Sure.
What if they were Mets fans too, man? That team was supposed to be in the playoffs. I guess the Nets are playing okay right now.
Sure.
I don't know how the Devils are doing, but no, I'm fine with that part of it. But yeah, I don't think he's playing. Like this is clearly hey, let's get some attention because Aaron loves that. He does whatever he wants. Let's give the fans something to get excited about. But we're not going to be in the playoff race when he's ready. Dude. So there's no if they let him play football after they're eliminated. I don't know what you're thinking. Like you're gonna pay him all this money, you're gonna let him come back.
I'll be delighted by it.
I'll be delighted. That would be hilarious. Somebody had a tweet too. He said his other Achilles has the chance to do the funniest thing ever.
That was my favorite tweet of all today. You shared that with me. I really love that.
That would just be malpractice at that point, guys. So,
of course. Okay. So here's final. We could go on and on. I could list my top 5 least favorite cringe tweets of today. There were some beauties, like nobody wanted to stay late at practice, but then they heard Aaron Rodgers was running some sort of drill. Oh, we all want to stay late now. We can everybody take a deep breath. My gut is that this is to fuel Rodgers' sense of I want to be part of the team story and in the spotlight. Right, there's a little bit of this kind of fueling his narcissism, and then the other thing is it's trying to get maybe the defense not to quit here because the defense has got a lot of signs of quittage. I don't know if you're tracking these numbers, man, but this defense was clearly top 3 at the halfway point of the season, and they are slipping. And it could be opponents, but it could also just be.
It's just the grind of the season trying to carry an entire team.
Sure.
So how do you turn this into an adjective? Sisyphean.
Sure. Yes. Rolling the ball uphill and then having it roll over you. It's getting crushed by it on the way down.
At the top of the hill, Zach Wilson just kicks it right back down on you.
Yeah. If you want to know,
turn the ball over. Let's go back out there.
Yeah. If you want to know the game that the Jets defense quit, I think it was probably the Chargers game, right? Like that. Like it was. That was about
quits.
It was about the hardest effort we've ever seen from them. And then they give up. I mean, in hindsight, giving up 400. What did they get? They give up almost 300 yards offense to the Raiders offense, who's trash. They gave up a buttload to the Bills, and then the Dolphins just absolutely gashed them. So yeah, I mean, it's 400 yards of offense each of the last 2 weeks. In fact, if they don't get 3 turnovers on the Dolphins, they probably concede 40 points in that game. Like this defense they needed a pop, but they needed something to be excited about, and that's kind of what this feels like. The 21-day window is going to come and go, and he won't be activated. That's my general sense. Let's move on to Arizona, Pittsburgh. Interesting market in this one.
The 420 whatever yards that the Steelers put up, was it true or false? It was a sign of a clearly better offensive coordinator / offensive game plan.
Ooh, that's
or
too.
Give me a percentage. How much credit will you give to the Steelers? How much credit do you give to
who they play?
Bottom 3 defense right now?
Yeah, 4, 3, 4. Yeah,
it's a very, very, very bad defense. That said,
I give a decent amount of credit to the Steelers because
I'm going like 60-40.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. They're definitely. I guess here you go. You want to divide up a pie. A slice of the pie goes to the great Mike Tomlin.
Jesus. Come on. I didn't even see that coming. How did I not see this coming?
No, it's seriousness though. Like there was like a little bit of a kick in the ass to the players, right? Like, hey guys.
Well, no, for sure.
Focus.
I don't think he was well loved. So like when it's the same thing we saw with McDaniels getting fired. Like whenever a coach that clearly was holding you back leaves, like there's a bit of a
dead cat bounce.
Rah.
It was a dead cat bounce, right? I will say though, there was most of the success that they had was their rushing attack, which has been great now for a couple weeks. That was not a revelatory something different about the way they were calling plays. The issues with the Steelers offense has always been lack of continuity, lack of kind of a fabric that ties the running game and the passing game together, right? Like if you think of what the Niners do and the Dolphins, they are so good at disguising whether it's run or pass or like what part of the field they're trying to use. Like it is just so brilliantly camouflaged and misdirection everywhere. And what the Steelers were doing was only attacking along the boundaries through the air and then only running off tackle with a little bit of running inside, inside runs that were just totally wasted downs, right? Yeah. And there was a lot of predictability. Like there was a lot of like, okay, in this situation, they tend to do this. There was not a lot of misdirection. There was not a lot of making linebackers guess, safeties freeze. And I saw a little bit more of that, but a ton of it was just the fact that Freiermuth was back and they targeted him over the middle of the field 11 times. And if you are at least targeting, if you're at least doing that,
weak linebackers, weak safeties, yes.
Yeah, if you're at least attacking somewhat over the middle of the field, and then you should get
credit for that. It's like writing your name on the test.
Right. It's like writing your name on the test. And also, by the way, you want to attack on the boundaries with your wide receivers because that's where they're the best at winning. And it takes a little bit of the, helps them with a little bit of separation anxiety at the boundary. So I think ultimately like there's signs that there will continue to improve, but like just basically like so fundamentally, the Steelers' best 3 offensive performances in total EPA this season were the 3 of the last 4 weeks. The 1 week that was not in the sample is the Browns game, right? So basically, the offense was already trending up, and now this should give them a nudge with kind of full health and everybody fired up about how successful the running game is and. Tomlin leading the ship in the right direction here. But the best part
can they do it again? So and that's
can they do it again?
Like I just sorted out. I picked roughly the split what part of the season was in half. So I went week 6 through 18, which obviously we haven't played for those weeks. The dead last in defensive success rate, the Bengals. The Bengals have 48% success rate by opposing offense. It has been rough. It's been a rough go, especially of late. A little bit of attrition, a little bit of injury, a little bit of not being good to start with.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are not far off the bottom of that list.
That's absolutely true.
7th. So
that is true.
There's a decent chance to do this again. But you want to lay points with this team?
Right now, I have the Cardinals as the second worst defense, and they have made very, very, very bad offenses look very, very competent. And
Seattle should have scored 40 on them.
Yes, they should have. They very much should have. And they've made a lot of teams look good this year, and I think they could make the Steelers look good here. The bigger question and the bigger trying to figure out when I rewatch this game, when I rewatched the Cardinals Rams game, because like there were a couple of games that I think are important on your rewatch if you haven't already rewatched last week's. Lions Packers is massively important. I
watched that just for love.
yeah, not because I love the game, but just to see what love.
No, just to see that's the other. Like, is he actually
what was happening? And then the other one was Cardinals Rams, because you needed to come out of that game with a sincere opinion on, did this tell you something about the Cardinals being bad or something about the Rams being good? And I came out of that game with more Rams offense good, and I came out of that game with Cardinals offense question mark. Like it didn't make any sense. They're only using Kyler out of shotgun. Kyler's not doing any running, and he has a set of targets he's throwing to that can't generate separation and then aren't big enough to make, contested catches. It's like he's desperately missing a DeAndre Hopkins type of player who was always kind of the cheat code when he was his best. And Kyler Murray is always his best when he has like 10 rushing attempts per game and he's out there scrambling like the overhead play against against the Falcons. And that's just, it's not part of the game plan right now for some reason. And I don't understand. And going up against the Steelers where that might kind of work with their linebacker injuries. I just don't see it happening. So I think the Cardinals are kind of fucked here. I don't really know why the market moved them off of 6 to 5.5. In full reflection of where we are with these teams, I thought the adjustment from the look ahead to Steelers 6 was actually correct. So if I had to bet this game, I would play the Steelers. And if I had to play the total, I would bet the over. But I'm a little concerned about the weather and a little concerned about the Cardinals contributing, honestly.
Yeah, I can see if you wanted me to bet this, I would bet like Steelers minus 13.5.
Yeah.
This just feels like a 24-3 kind of game if you end up with it, because for the life of me, I know he's had a really tough road to hoe, but I haven't quite figured out what Drew Petzing is as an offensive coordinator.
Not at all.
It's been tough because we had to start with we're starting Dobbs. And we don't really have a lot of skill position players. Connor's missing some games. Ertz is out for an extended. Now we're throwing you a Clayton Tune game. Now you get your starter back. Like, it hasn't been an easy job, I'm sure, but you just watch old games, but like, hey, here's where Kyler was the best. Just fucking sort the stats. That's what, go sort the stats from his career. Which games did he have the highest EPA? Go watch those.
What was he doing in those games?
Go watch those tapes and call those plays.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. So they've now had 3 games with Kyler Murray back. You want to guess EPA per play for the Cardinals over the last 3 weeks?
So what were name the 3? It was Rams.
Yeah, this is against the all-world defenses of the Falcons, the Texans, and the Rams.
Rams and Texans.
Yeah, 3 very middling units.
I mean, it's probably a negative number.
How about a rank? Just give me a rank.
Oh, like 28th.
23rd.
Really?
But but that's just because some of the other teams below them are like the Patriots and the Giants and the Jets,
and
the Browns and the Browns and the Saints, actually. Who's been better than them? Titans and the Bears and the Seahawks. Tampa has been better than them. Like this is what a sad state of affairs we are. Pittsburgh's been markedly better than them, right? By the way, last 3 weeks, they are number 15 in the NFL. In fact, actually, let's go back to week 9. So the 3 best weeks of the season for the Steelers offense were 9, 10, and 12. If we go from week 9 to today, the Steelers are number 10 in EPA per play. How about that? What a sad, pathetic state of affairs we're in here.
You just got to play the Bengals more.
You got to play the Bengals more, and hey, guess what? The Steelers are going to get to play a lot of is bad teams coming down the home stretch here. Do you see the rest of these games here?
This is a playoff team game.
This is unbelievable. It's there. Like the weird thing is like the 3 wild card teams in the AFC right now are Steelers, Colts, and Texans.
Browns.
Go. Wait, no, I think
as far as the standings go right now, I think the
Browns. Oh, the Browns in? Okay, well, whatever the case is, but like Houston, Indy, and Pittsburgh are all in the playoff mix, right? And if you want to try to get the Bills in, if you want to try to get somebody else good in, one of those teams has to fall apart. None of these teams has anyone on their schedule who's likely to beat them. Like what?
They're all teams that can beat themselves. Like the Colts losing this week doesn't feel out of it.
Okay. The Steelers,
but the Bills
Cardinals
need to start winning some games. They are 6-6 with a 100-point positive point differential.
So yeah, real quick, the Cardinals. Sorry, the Pittsburgh gets the Cardinals this week at home. They get the Patriots next week at home on a short week. Then they go at the Colts. Then they get the Bengals at home again. So they get to play the Bengals defense again soon. Then they get to Seattle, and then they are at Baltimore to round out the season. Like, entirely conceivable that we have seen the last Steelers regular season loss this year.
I feel like they lose to Seattle.
If they're 11-4, yeah, that's on the road. Yeah, their last two games are on the road, at Seattle, at Baltimore. 11-4. Pittsburgh Steelers. What kind of price are we talking about for Tomlin Coach of the Year?
He's probably fifth
co-favorite.
No, he's fifth favorite. He's still behind. He's still behind Ryan. He's still behind McDaniel. He's probably. You know what?
Yeah.
I just put this out into the universe. Like, if you beat the Chiefs, the Bills, the Niners, and the Cowboys in rapid succession, everybody knows you did it. And you finish the season 16-1, I think you can leapfrog people because somebody's got it. I mean, and what sucks is you're probably giving Jalen Hurts MVP for reasons unknown at that point.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's hard to get 2 awards, but man, I would struggle to not put Sirianni as the second choice on my ballot for like everybody.
Yeah,
I feel like he would rack up a lot of points.
You'd be in the top 2 on every ballot. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
that's
tough.
Fair. That's fair.
It's a good race. There's some good races, and then there's offensive rookie of the year.
Okay, we'll get to the Eagles.
Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I took a little bit of Carolina money line here just because it was a big number, and I don't like the Bucs injury status.
Yeah, I played the under 37.
Okay,
there's teams that can take advantage. There's teams that can take advantage of people like, what did I say, Nakobe Dean, Jamal Dean, and
Carlton Davis, Levante
David and Dean. Like, there's teams that can take advantage of those guys being out, and there's teams that can't. Okay. And the Panthers on the road, I don't think can. It's, and not only that, well, I'm not saying they can't win a low-scoring game. I don't see them going and putting up 24 because of it. They don't have that. Not only that, but I don't know that we get this dead cat bounce off what we've seen. Did you know that the you know how they said, like, hey, guess what? These other guys are fired too.
Yeah. The quarterback coach McCown and the running back coach Staley. Yeah.
Do you know that the interim fired them?
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that was. I guess that I read this.
No,
today.
I didn't know that.
I read this, and this was from a Carolina beat reporter.
I don't know why this is so funny.
I don't know why either, but I laughed so loud. Like when I read that. I said, so I guess apparently Chris Tabor, who was the interim, as soon as he took the job, got rid of McCown and Deuce Staley. Said they're off my staff too. I had no idea. I'm gonna have to go find this article.
What?
But it was from like a Carolina reporter.
Is he just he's exerting his control? Like he's like
So not only are you missing, like, I don't know, think about like your hierarchy of offensive coaches.
I see clearly.
So you have the head coach.
Yes.
You have the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then below that, probably quarterbacks coach, wide receiver coach, running back coach, tight ends coach.
Correct.
Those are your and offensive line coach. Like those are your big 7. You got rid of 4 of those.
Okay.
At this point, like, I don't think there's some like, oh, we're just we have the brain trust is here to fix all this. I don't know that it's going to be a very clean product. Okay. And at the same time, we could be in Trask territory here too.
Yeah, that was why I played. That was why I played Carolina.
Yeah,
well, 2 reasons. Yeah,
it's like 50-50 that he goes, and
I fully agree.
I mean, it's super important for him to go, but think about how bad Baker looked at times in the preseason, and they still at like week 2 said, "Yeah, he's our guy."
Yeah,
Trask is not good. So I'm very comfortable with this. This could be 13-10, hopefully 13-10 Panthers.
Okay.
I don't give a shit who wins.
All right, good deal. Because there's a chance J.C. Horn's back. There's a chance Jeremy Chin is back. Chance C.J. Henderson is back. Like the defense might be at absolute full strength for the first time practically all season. And Ajero Evero seems to like coming out of the bye. Coming out of the bye, we were like, oh, Thomas Brown's going to fix this offense. Well, it turned out Ajero Evero fixed the defense, and the offense never was never as good as they were in like the best weeks for the Panthers offense this season were like weeks like 2, 3, and 5 or something stupid. Like they were all early in the season. They've just been useless since. The back and forth of who's calling plays between Reich and Brown was clearly problematic. The attitude in the building of whether you want to work with Bryce Young or, you're just going to be, a dumpy, cry in the corner because you didn't get CJ Stroud. That might have had something to do with McCown being let go. He was very
adamant.
He had some statements in the draft cycle that I think, might have made it. He was
starting to look more and more like Drago from Rocky IV every week.
He's always looked like Drago.
I know, but as an American, I didn't care for
that. So now that I have heard this, I'm starting to see the puzzle pieces a little bit better. This doesn't really matter, but I think there's a chance this was like we got to get
Horn being a limited participant today was a big deal. Like Chin,
sure.
Like if you get the secondary back together,
sure.
It's not a bad defense.
No, I who I think made the call probably to jettison those guys was probably Jim Caldwell because he got elevated, right? He went from like senior advisor to like offensive like assistant type of deal, and so he's gonna have he'll have a very healthy, I would guess, influence in the vacuum of those players for quarterback and running back, and for what it was worth, like the quarterback coach wasn't doing a very good job, so. Can't be any worse.
Yeah, I have no problem firing the quarterback coach. Like, no matter who you
at all.
No. Jesus Christ. And like, you're out of here. You can't get
what's an even better, like an even more clear sign in hindsight that McCown wasn't the guy? The Texans wanted to hire him. Now the pieces are starting to come together. Like
the old Texans.
The old Texans really wanted him. We're going to get to the Texans in a minute because they're making some decisions that I do not like. But that said, I play a little Carolina money line. I'm probably not going to watch this game. Indiana.
Well, it's an under. I don't watch games that I bet unders on. I will not watch them.
Okay,
let's talk. If they come up on red zone, I get obviously mad. Indy, Tennessee.
What's up with Levis? Is good God? Is that Ryan Tannehill's music? Is this potentially a trappy-ish spot for the Colts?
Treylon Burks sounds like he's going to come back. I've seen Jonathan Taylor Thomas is donezo for a few weeks with the thumb injury. Does not sound like it's going to be the IR. So hopefully maybe just 2-3 weeks for him.
Very surprised that he goes under the knife and they say 2 to 3.
I guess it must be a really minor little procedure.
I guess.
Because you use your hands to having opposable thumbs is just the bees.
Kind of important for a running back.
It's really important for a running back.
Yeah.
This is one I passed on pretty quick when I was looking at it too. It's like we got a Zach Moss game. Downs, the kind of rookie. He is a rookie, kind of slot guy, but he's 5th in rookies as far as targets go this year. 73. Kind of quietly, he's good. Like he's a good young running back. Good. Yeah, he's a good young wide receiver.
He in the Judah plots, which are my favorite of the positional plots, he always looks to stand out good. Yeah.
Like they did a pretty good job drafting the last few years. Got some decent guys. Center Ryan Kelly was a full participant at practice after missing last week with a concussion. So Indy, both teams are getting decent injury news outside of the crushing Jonathan Taylor news, obviously.
Sure.
Buckner was limited, but he always goes. I just have an injury report here because I didn't really look too close at this game. Like what we got from Indy last week was a team that had the pieces to take advantage of some missing parts on the Tampa Bay defense. They still were letting Tampa Bay back into this game. It's a road game. It's a divisional rival. It's a better coach, probably. And we love Steichen, but you still just have all the experience and savvy from, Vrabel. I didn't touch this one. Do you have thoughts? I don't have thoughts on this one.
No, I don't. I didn't bet this game. I don't have. I was just curious if you have anything on. If you have anything on, Moss was perfectly. He's probably
when Taylor was missing. He was very good at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, if I didn't have a massive amount of respect for Shane Steichen, I would probably have read the Will Levis news and auto bet the Tennessee Titans. Like that type of that's catnip for me. Like I love that type of shit. Like, this quarterback who's not really playing very well, who they didn't really put a ton of draft capital in, is kind of hurt, and there's a guy who can probably save some people's jobs who's sitting on the bench. That all does smell like this might be Ryan Tannehill's music time. The problem is the Titans. Tannehill's not playing well this year, but it's because the offensive line is super duper duper bad. And I don't know, maybe the Colts can't take advantage of that. We'll see.
Thanks. Buckner's good, but the pass rush has been up and down, mostly down, in my opinion. If it does remain at this price point, I will tease it. It is a home dog with a lowish total.
But if it flips and the Colts are dogs at 1.5, you'll tease that.
I might tease both sides.
Okay.
It feels like a close game, though.
By the way, I'm looking at the wide receiver scatter shot plot right now, and as I would have guessed, the best wide receiver for the Colts is Josh Downs, and the best wide receiver for the Titans, Andy, is you want to guess?
Westbrook-Ikhine?
Yes. That's the only guy that has any juice in that room.
His name is always getting called.
Yes, that's the only guy, and he's not good, but he's the best of who they got. DeAndre Hopkins has been terrible. You know who should see 0 snaps? Alex Pierce. Why is that guy getting any snaps? He's playing
Kinney isn't. He's serviceable.
He's
in the land of the blind. The one-eyed man is king. Drew.
He's hovering in the Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf territory.
Man, Terry used to be so.
He did.
All right, flip to the second half. Done with this shit.
I made a play in this game. I didn't tell you. I didn't tease it on Sunday at all. You got a guess?
I liked this under a little.
Yes, we are on the same page.
I thought 50 was a little much.
I agree with that.
Not only because the Dolphins' defense has gotten so good.
Yeah,
but just Dolphins on the road and some of the inconsistencies from Tua.
Yeah,
I know the secondary is not great, but Tyreek didn't practice today.
Yeah,
complete DNP. I think he'll play, guys. Yeah. But if he's not feeling well, if he's not 100%, I don't know.
It wasn't an illness, right? That was an injury.
No, it's an injury. Yeah, I don't know why I said feeling well. If he's not feeling 100% and they get out to some sort of 2-score lead, I don't think he sees 100% of the snaps in the second half. They're not watching the ball with a road lead here. So I like this Sunday. I didn't make a play on it yet, but I don't lay out your thoughts unless I kind of covered them all there.
It's a super piece of shit lousy field is FedEx Field. It's not a track surface. When it's especially shitty in December and when it's raining. You know what it's going to be on Sunday? It's going to be December and it's going to be raining.
You know what my favorite field was?
Oh, the one in Chicago with the water sliding?
No, the Coliseum when they'd get tackled like on the third baseline. It looked like it had to hurt so much.
The Oakland Coliseum. Man.
When they played the Oakland A's,
I have a weird, unique favorite field story. It's the Mexico City field.
Lost your virginity at Shea Stadium.
Might as well have. Mexico City field.
Estadio
Azteca. You remember when they had a concert there? Before the Rams and the Chiefs were supposed to play, and they destroyed the field.
They didn't cancel your tickets.
They didn't cancel the tickets, even though they moved it to LA, and it flipped across 3, and then
they played at the same time. I think the house rules were as long as they played at the same time or the same day.
Yes. Middle the best NFL regular season game we've ever had on game. 3. Because of the Stadium Azteca concert that destroyed that field. Can anyone
name that concert? Who was playing?
Ooh, I want to say it was like Enrique Iglesias. Is that racist?
I was going to say the Boomtown Rats.
The Boomtown Rats? What? No.
Okay.
All right. We'll let Dan track it down for us as we carry on, because I don't want to go on a freaking internet rat hole, K-hole to track them down.
Patrick says Menudo, but Patrick, you're a million years old, dude.
Okay, yeah. No, the other angles of the handicap, the Commanders right now look like everybody's quit. They're waiting for Ron Rivera to get fired. Ron Rivera just took over play calling on the defense, I guess, from Jack Del Rio, but that's not going to help because you have no one talented on that side of the ball. Ron Rivera is running out the clock on this year and will be fired. I think the Dolphins also, my goodness gracious, my numbers are just eye-poppingly good for this defense all of a sudden. And I know that popping is not a good adjective for a team that just lost an important pass rush piece to Achilles, but they do have depth at that position. So I'm not like super.
As long as their secondary, the front line of the secondary stays healthy, they have a good enough rotation at pass rush, and they can cover in the middle levels. Yeah, it's like a very good defense. This is a buy on team still.
You know, here's one other X factor, right? I'm going to put on my Chernoff hat from the preseason. Bieniemy he needs to be thinking about what's my job next year, because he's not getting the head coaching job in Washington. Like, does he sabotage this offense to the tune of getting Rivera fired in season so he could put some head coaching tape? It's not
if they score like 20 points now, I'm gonna start thinking. That's all I'm gonna be able to think of. I think he'll get John. There's gonna be like 8 openings, man.
Yeah. For sure.
Think there's
he'll get an offensive coordinator kick somewhere for sure. I would guess, but he needs to put Patrick. He's here. He's here to try.
I did the GIF.
Nice. You threw him into the politics hellscape. All right, yeah, no, I don't think that's actually a handicapping angle, but the Miami defense is screaming good right now, and the field is going to only help them. So hopefully there's not like 3 defensive touchdowns in this game, because that's the only
I think that's my concern. Is like Howell holds it too long and we get some
Shakira. I was gonna say Shakira. Damn. Hips don't lie. It was Shakira.
She was really good in Zootopia.
That was my first guess, but I didn't want to be like that basic bitch, so I went with Iglesias instead. And of course, it was.
So Shakira. I went with the Boomtown Rats. Do you know who that is?
No, never heard of the Boomtown Rats.
What's the name of the guy who did Live Aid?
The guy who ran Live Aid?
Yeah.
Oh shit, man, that is way outside of my depth of knowledge.
Live Aid guy. What is his name? Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof. It's his band.
Peach's dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Look at this. This guy knows it.
He was in the Boomtown Rats. Okay. Mondays.
Tell me why I don't like Mondays.
Yeah.
All right. Good job.
I'm with That's So Ravens. All I remember from the Live Aid is Freddie Mercury. All right.
I mean, that was pretty good.
Denver, Houston
was not there.
I think there's another bet to be had here. You know what it is?
The Broncos.
Ooh, that's spicy. Lay that out for me.
It's a good defense now. And it's a good defense in a weird way. So it's a high success rate, low EPA defense. Which is the fanciest way for you to say bend but don't break. So, Drew, explain success rate to the folks. On first down, you need to achieve
4 yards or something.
60%. No, it's 40. Yeah. Oh, God, I
can't remember.
It's all in formulas and spreadsheets.
Yeah.
All right, we're looking it up because I think I screwed it up already.
Yeah. While you look it up.
All right, on first down, you need 40% of your yards to go on first down. So if it's first and 15, obviously it changes. 60% of the yards to go on second down, and then 100% on third and fourth.
That's right.
They are letting you get yardage.
Yes,
but they're not letting you. What drives a bigger EPA per play? Getting 5 yards on third and 4. Or getting 60 yards. Like, they're not letting you get these huge chunk plays right now.
Correct.
And I know some of its opponent.
They are no explosives against this defense.
They're doing a really good job of limiting explosives, which is kind of what we've seen from the Texans. We had a couple good games of running that has ground to a halt once people realized that was not sustainable. This is a team that's not going to be able to run. This is a team that's not going to be able to get the big play. And as much as I love the Texans, this should be like 2. I don't quite get where this is at. Russell Wilson's playing a lot better. Cortland Sutton's a true star. And they don't really have a kicker right now. That can matter. That might have mattered last week. It didn't might have mattered.
Did Amdol get cut? He got cut.
He got cut, re-signed to the practice squad. I think he might be their kicker again. They're trying out other guys. So
okay, so
I just need the Broncos to do what they did against the Vikings, just slightly better, because the Vikings are a better defense. And
I think that's all.
Yeah, just be a little better in the red zone.
Yeah,
score 25 points. Hell, I'll take 24.
I don't think you need that. I don't think you're going to need it. All right, so here's.
I don't know. This total's taken up for a reason.
I played the under. I played under 47.5 here, and it's straightforward why. The Broncos are getting it done with very, very favorable field position, some fluky turnover luck, and people are using that as an excuse to be like, I want to bet against the Broncos. And CJ Stroud is hot commodity right now. I want to bet on CJ Stroud. Although, by the way, CJ Stroud did get hit late in that game and was kind of limping around. I saw some clips of him at practice today, and he looked okay, but worth keeping an eye on Mr. CJ's health. But the issue I have with the Texans is they're getting it done with some explosive plays in the passing game to some wide receivers who are creating some decent separation. You know who is not allowing separation? Anyone in the secondary. Patrick Surtain, Fabian Moreau. Did you know this guy was an elite corner? I didn't. I learned that recently. And just in general, the outstanding safety play of Justin Simmons, who's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Yes, ultimately, even the nickel corner is up there. Jaquan McMillan, a name you haven't heard on this podcast before because I've never said it out loud. He's played great. Like, they have 3 bona fide corners and an outstanding safety. I don't think CJ Stroud is going to find a ton of success through the air on this one. And I think it's going to be because everybody's going to be pretty well covered. He could take more sacks here. This could be a little bit of a slog fest as the reintegration of what's that? Damian Pierce. Is that the running back's name for the Texans?
Yeah.
That guy stinks. And they are forcing him into the game plan. And he is a wasted down every time they hand it to him. Singletary has lost the juice that he had. And that's sort of that one opportunity.
He had like 2 weeks. And then it's over. It's over. They figured out what they were doing with him, apparently.
This is all of a sudden one-dimensional against this into the teeth of the Broncos. So I think the Texans are really going to have a tough time scoring here. And I think unless the Broncos are getting more advantageous field position, I just don't see how they're going to run away and score.
The Broncos in general, the defense has been good, but if you don't have a run game at all, that's problematic because they've been. I still have it set for the last 6 weeks. 6th in the league in defensive rush EPA.
That is good.
Only behind 5 other teams, and just overall EPA over the last 6 weeks defensively, they are your 8th best team. Extreme, and again.
I think that's fair.
Sort by success rate. They're down there. They're letting people dink and dunk all over them, but they're not letting them get the big plays. They're not letting them get into the end zone. So,
funny enough, their offense is all dink and dunk. Funny enough, their offense is all dink and dunk. You're going to need at least 2 field goals to get that home. But you're going to need no points. Dink
and doink.
Dink and doink. All right, so. Doesn't matter who Surtain's covering.
I think Surtain just probably grabs the side and covers who's over there because
I agree.
Dell was a little banged up, correct?
Quick sidebar. Yeah, he is. He's banged up. Quick sidebar on the Texans.
I had this written down for Dell. Oh, the other thing too is Titus Howard out for the season.
Yeah.
Problem. Sure. It's not your best player.
But CJ Stroud has been so good in the pocket that it kind of hasn't mattered. It's
somebody never to lose another tackle though. It's not going to help the run game either.
No, it's not. Not that for sure. Yes, that for sure. So sidebar on the Texans real quick. They may win every game down the stretch. It's possible. They may lose this game and then win every game down the stretch. They may make the playoffs this year. We may get to see CJ Stroud kind of pop his postseason cherry. That would be good for the state of the NFL. in every way.
I was going to say stinker cherry. That sounds so filthy. Erase this clip.
I don't want to see that at all.
Well, because you always get that stinker.
Yeah, playoff stinker out of the way. Yep. All right. This organization has really healthy whiffs of they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like big time ones, right? Like they are the beneficiaries of getting the best quarterback in this draft, maybe even a generational talent who is elevating their performance and kind of masking the fact that there are huge issues with the way they are evaluating talent and rostering this squad, right? The decision to trade up for Will Anderson is that's a glaringly obvious one. The rumors I've heard about who ultimately made the pick for CJ Stroud, by the way, was not the talent evaluation group. It was straight from the owner's box. And the decision today to dink with Amendola, like
McNair's a meddler. I like that though.
No, McNair's. Oh yeah, he's a meddler. Yeah, he's a meddler in the best way possible, and that he got a franchise quarterback for you.
Yeah,
and I heard it was his wife. I heard it was literally came from McNair's wife to take Stroud. Yes, I absolutely do too. And she knows ball, by the way. Anytime you hear her talk about football, she definitely knows what she's talking about. All right. They did two dumb things today that I just want to kind of add to the pile of are they a smart organization? The first was they cut the best cornerback, at least among their cornerbacks who have played this year, meaningful snaps, in Shaq Griffin today. And I am somewhat shocked that they're going to give more run to the bad guys. Why would they do that? And like, hey, if you literally just need to get more run for Singletary so that oh yeah, there's more evidence. You took Singletary over Sauce Gardner in the 3-4 last year, right? You took Will Anderson over Jalen Carter. That's not obviously a win, right? You took what do you call it? You cut your kicker, who you just trotted out to try to hit a 58-yard miracle desperation field goal, missed it by 6 inches, and you're going to move on from him? Like, you found a diamond in the rough there. What are you doing? Like, I'm literally kind of seeing a bunch of puzzle pieces that look like a very dysfunctional front office that is being masqueraded by the fact that CJ Stroud could be just generationally awesome. Stingley, sorry, what did I say? Singletary? My bad. Yeah, Derek Stingley has been not good. He's been not good so far. And you know who has been all-pro 2 years in a row now? Sauce Gardner. So good job evaluating that position. And yeah, I mean, the process about getting Will Anderson in the first place, and the fact that you hired a head coach who was literally like ready to go to war this year with Davis Mills and forego the quarterback position entirely. Like, these are all red flags. And so I don't know if the wheels fall off and the Texans don't make the playoffs and they lose a bunch of games that they should have won, and we're all sitting there scratching our heads. Like, I think it all kind of comes back to just mismanagement of the roster and, talent evaluation, self-scouting, all of that, which might be broken there. So, just kind of a word of caution about getting too geeked up about this Houston squad. All that said, I would really like to see CJ Stroud get to the playoffs.
I mean, sometimes it's just the team ends up with the right players and they're good.
Sure.
But honestly, it wouldn't even be the first time that it happened to this exact franchise in the last 10 years. How many playoff appearances and wins did we get out of a Texans team that wasn't even that good? Mismanaged from the top, that had a bad head coach. That team was getting high seeds and winning division titles because they ended up with Watson and a couple other players. They had a couple decent receivers. This is crazy. This has happened. We've seen this before in Houston. I'll be on Texans plus 3.5. Yeah, I hope CJ
Broncos
plus 3.5.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on the under here. Niners Philly. We have talked a lot of football already. It's hour 18 minutes in the pod, and here we are finally at the game that matters the most. Where are you currently with the developments in this market and with the matchups that you are the most excited to try to kind of solve as we problem solve this very important handicap?
I thought about this from I first approached this game from the spot of managing the Eagles' defensive game plan. And I spent about 10 minutes on that and realized they're fucked. They're just fucked. Like, I don't know what you do. I guess you're at home. That's something. But, man, like, oh, like how are you going to do this? You've kind of been doing it on a wing and a prayer with the secondary and your coverage unit in general against some. And not only that, you got to be ground down from these last two games. Like you haven't had an easy road to go here. The Niners, they just went and beat the shit out of the Seahawks, get extra rest coming into this game, and are just hyper efficient. Like what do you say? Well, we got to take away Debo.
Yeah.
Well, there goes Ayuk over the top. Oh, we got to take away Ayuk. McCaffrey's got 150 scrimmage yards already this half because we're trying to go deep quarters and he's just getting 8 yards a carry because we're over pursuing on the blitz and they're hitting us on stupid little screen passes here and there. Like they can do so many things offensively. It's very, very hard. Like this is similar to what I said about Seattle. If the Eagles want to win this game, it has to be the old shitty cliche that we always used to run against the when we were at the height of like Tyreek and Patrick. They have to have the ball for 40 minutes and they have to score on probably if their drives equal N, they have to score on like N-1. Like they can't have empty drives. They have to score points.
Yes.
Because I don't think they have the chops to even Mark's bringing up the weather might not be great, even in bad weather. I don't.
It wasn't great last week for Buffalo.
They don't have what it takes to slow this down. So, like their offensive game plan has to be pretty bleeping perfect. That said, they have a good set of wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 against a secondary that can be beat. These corners are not great. Out on an island, Hafunga is missing for the better part of a year now. That matters. And if you can get Swift going at all against this front, against these linebackers, he's good. He's had a good year. They've run some really good, quarterback draws, scripted runs, quarterback delays. Like Hurts needs to probably have 50 yards rushing. And it just got to be ball control. So like I'm not super interested at this price. I'm pretty much on market. I think these prices are great. I'm excited to watch this game. I don't think I'll bet it.
Okay.
Like but I do think like if you want Eagles money line, I'm not so sure Eagles are winning in a shootout. Like I think if you like Eagles money line, you kind of like this under.
Well, that's a good point.
There's probably a little bit of correlation to that.
Yeah, right. Like the Eagles win this game if they have a 10-minute drive in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So
which they
I don't know. I'm excited about it. It's fun. This is one of the craziest stretches of just playing. Who are the 4 best quarterbacks in the league not named Jalen Hurts? I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league, but he's in the top 5 right now.
Mahomes, based on what Josh Allen, Purdy, and Dak.
Yeah,
is that what you're thinking?
I'm pretty sure. If not, like I'm sure you can make cases for a few other guys.
So here's the thing about ranking quarterbacks: people want to do it while divorcing it from the offensive system and coach. That's stupid.
Purdy with his system.
Yeah, the quarterback should be evaluated as a conduit for what the offense is trying to do. So they go hand in hand. Like trying to divorce Mahomes and Reed. Why bother?
It's like saying one of the best trains in the world isn't any good without tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna run this train on tracks because that's how that works. Like hey, guess what? He plays for San Francisco. He's under contract there.
Yeah.
He's kind of forced to play in the Shanahan system.
He's been the best conduit for Shanahan's vision that we've ever seen. Yeah.
They're gonna handcuff him to playing with Debo and Ayuk and CMC and Kittle. That's his cross to bear. So Purdy is a top 5 quarterback. There's no way around this.
Yes, absolutely right. We agree. All right. So
what are your top 3 trains? Oh my god!
The Santa Fe is
Bobby
pretty.
Bacala getting
Santa Fe is a pretty good looking train. What do you think of the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I'm a big. I mean, that's a little more local.
Yeah. Okay.
B&O.
B&O is, that was a good one. Yeah. Pennsylvania Railroad sucks. Yeah. All right.
Percy, Henry, and Gordon.
Yeah. Those were, what was the sad train that got cemented up into the tunnel? It was such a sad episode. I don't remember. All right. So he was a bad train though. Okay, so back to this game and this matchup. I agree with you. I think the Eagles offense must be good to win this game. I think they will. I think the Niners offense will be good in the vacuum. I think this total was laughably low. I think it's getting there now. What did I play? 46.5. I think I got 46.5 in this game, which I kind of can't believe was available. Is it flipped across 47 already, or is there a push? Was there a two-way here? 47 flat at Chris. Okay. 47.5 at Circa. Okay. So we're on the right side.
47 and a quarter.
Yeah.
It's half and half.
I think just the world of both of these offenses being able to succeed and score points. And the weather is the only X factor that is kind of somewhat concerning. And the Eagles with the lead milking the clock and making this a short game. I don't think the Niners are as capable of doing like a power running 10-minute drive type of stuff. Their running game is so freaking explosive. They gash too much. They gash too much. So this should be a fun one. And I'm very, very excited for this one. Spread to me looks perfect. In a vacuum, with if both these teams had a week rest to prepare for this, like we had leading into the Eagles Chiefs, right? This was like totally neutral rest in Philly. We would not see a 2.5. This number reflects a lot of people kind of convinced that the Eagles defense is going to be limping into this one with the injuries they sustained at the linebacker and safety position, combined with the fact that they were on the field for approximately 994.
It was 90. There was 90 plus offensive plays that they had to face. This defense, it's not a short week, but it's still, you're not getting any extra rest, and the Niners are, and that's problematic for them. Now there's a full train conversation. Honestly, the best NFL themed train was probably Earl Thomas and his brother.
What?
That story.
Final thoughts on this one here. I do worry a little bit about. I didn't play the Niners because I think the price is perfect.
If the Eagles win, is the 1 seed done?
Yes,
they'll be 11-1.
Probably done anyway.
I don't know. The Cowboys game has some leverage, obviously, but man, if they sneak this one out, that game matters a lot less.
Yeah, I'm feeling less enthusiastic about the Cowboys actually getting it done. But yeah, no, I'm a little worried about the Niners being susceptible in the secondary. Although, did you see AJ Brown hit the injury report today? I was a little bit surprised. Did you know he was hurt? I didn't even know he was sick.
Are we doing Norm?
No, I was a surprise. I did not know AJ Brown was hurt, and he hit the injury report today.
He died like 30 years ago, or whatever he says. That's not close to the right amount of years. I'll have to check that out. I did not see that. Okay. I don't know if it was something nagging or an actual injury.
I mean, it's kind of problematic because you don't have Dallas Goedert.
So that's the one. Yeah. The one note I did have on this too is Goedert has said he's going to try to play.
Oh, really? Oh.
No fucking way, right? Oh. It's way too soon. He had a broken arm. I don't think he plays. If he plays, that helps. But even if he does it, I wonder if it's a limited snap situation or as a decoy. I'm not so sure that he's ready to go yet. Okay. I think that was a bit of a okay, Dallas.
I dig it.
Cleveland Rams.
No. One last thought. Because you brought up success rate today. Mm-hmm. I'd like you to give this some thought before we get to Dallas, Philly, and how you price the Eagles offense. If you use success rate, if you use EPA per play, those formulas are based on historical observations, empirical data, if you will.
All the data points from previous football games.
You know what we've never had ever before is a team that has 100% probability of success when you get to 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1.
know, it really changes the dynamic.
It really, really does. And it kind of makes any kind of pluck and drop like statistics into a historical, kind of reference model a little bit invalid for the Eagles offense, because do they need to get 40% on fourth down? No. On first down? No. Do they need to get 60% on second down? Probably not. Like, they have some successful plays where they're just getting 2 yards and they need 4 on second down, right? Like, that is a win, because then you just need to push, particularly in the red zone. That's a win, right? And they have, they just have a very, very unique aggressiveness, willingness to go for it, and the high probability of converting these short ones. I mean, honestly, it makes me wonder why, like, is it risk of injury that they just don't go for the 2-point conversion and tush push every single time they score a touchdown?
Yeah, I don't know. Doing it too many times, there is a risk of injury, but like,
do you think that's really do you think that's what it is though? Like, that's why they wouldn't do it? Because like their probability of converting from 2 yards out with the tush push, I can almost say with absolute
60?
Certainty is more than 50%. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 60, 65. I mean, it's a little further out, so it's a bigger ask, but they're doing it more than 50%. Like, it's a plus EV prob, unless you want to figure in.
Think they're saving it for the playoffs, maybe?
Or like, yeah, maybe. I mean,
yeah, it is a high risk thing. I mean, there's definitely a chance that you get important guys hurt doing that.
And it depending on what time of the year, what time of the game it is. Just a 4th and 1, and obviously depending what side of the field and where. But I mean, it can have a 5, 10, 20%, win probability swing.
Sure.
The fact that everybody else in the world is, what's our 4th down conversion rate on 4th and 1 league wide? Do you think? I don't have that in front of me. I don't think I know.
It's probably in the 54% range. 54, 50. Yeah, between 50 and 60. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they're doing it 90 plus, it's huge. Yeah, and if you stuck around this long, if you watch this for an hour and 31 minutes, you must like something we're doing. So please, by all means, give us a thumbs up. That helps YouTube know that people like this, helps to grow the platform. It's the least a guy could do. Thanks for the shout out on that, Taylor. Obviously, subscribing helps as well. And yeah, I don't have a lot left on that. I don't want to talk about the Browns, though. This could be Hector made me think about this a little, because I just kind of went in blindly and before I started thinking too heavily about it. But Flacco might be a slight upgrade over DTR. I looked at it, and I looked at his numbers last year, and yes, he got benched for Mike White, but that offensive line was like a bottom 3 offensive line, and he's a statue. That's not a great situation. He's getting put in a similar situation. It's not good, but he's not going to throw, the turnovers. The turnover thing was the biggest thing when I was reading how Hector had priced it. He made a case for a little bigger adjustment. I'm like, I said, I'm going to adjust this up a half price, a half point, and then completely ignore this game. Like, it's not a game I'm going to look at or bet. Okay. So have fun with this one. Like, Rams should win. The Rams are motivated to win. Obviously they both are. I mean, they're both in playoff hunt. The Browns are actually in the playoffs, which is so nuts. Has there ever been a team with like this late in the season that's in a wild card spot that is on their 4th starting quarterback? It's not guaranteed to be Flacco, but it's seeming to trend that way, the way the concussion protocols work. So not great, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Flacco. I like the Rams a lot here. I think the Rams are a buy right now, not just because of this Browns. I'm
looking at playing them a little more long term. I think they'll be I did bet them today to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's my favorite future. If you can only let me have one right now, tougher to get that down. So I got a decent chunk of Rams NFC at 65-1, just as a opportunity to try to extract a little equity, because I think the Rams very realistically could get the 6th seed. which would match them up against the Lions, who I think are pretty fraudulent. The Rams offense matches up well against the Browns defense, in my opinion. I know that there are certain man zone pass rush with 4 kind of type of signal that says, against this type of defense, Matt Stafford tends to have poor games. I will say, though, that the Browns, that the absence of Denzel Ward was very, very, very obvious last week. Greg Newsome got destroyed in that game. I don't have a strong read about whether Denzel Ward will be back or not, but I definitely think that the different characters you have in the passing attack for the Rams here is going to be tough for the Browns. Pass defense.
Did you see the injury report, the whole injury report for the Browns?
It's like everybody, yeah.
They had 16. They had 16 players that were, listed
DNPs.
as DNPs or limited, and none of them were just like rest. Like Myles Garrett is clearly injured. He's going to just try to play through it. But if you saw how he looked in the the later parts of that game, his win rate against the offensive line was way down. He's completely neutered with. I mean, he's played with one arm. Amari Cooper, if he doesn't play, that's huge. That shot to the ribs was pretty hard. It
was bad.
Kareem Hunt has a groin injury. Njoku has a knee injury. Like you said, you got Teller and Batonio that are like, this team is very, very, very beat up. Like,
plus, you're already on your replacement tackles on both sides.
Yeah, it's Rams or nothing, and there's
at least you have a mobile quarterback. Oh,
so there was the best price I found was plus 240.
Okay,
it's 2-1 or better. Honestly, there was a 225 at Bet Online still this afternoon. I think that's something definitely worth looking at, considering the path. What is more than likely to happen to the Seahawks and or Vikings, and kind of what they can go. And Cooper Kupp full go today. That's important. It's trending towards. Why aren't we playing this at Rams minus 7.5? That was kind of my only thought. Like seriously,
like an all, because
you have this stuck in your head, like it's such a tough defense. It's such a tough.
Browns might score 2 points.
With Myles Garrett injured, it's still a good defense. It's not great anymore. And this is a team that can beat you over the top. It can beat you short, and has a smart quarterback and a good coach. And it's at home.
And they're healthy.
Half your team's fucking injured. Like the Rams cover 7.5 by getting dead.
You know what the very best
points?
You know what the best Rams offenses were, Andy? It wasn't the Stafford offenses that won the Super Bowl. It wasn't. The best Rams offenses were the Gurley offenses, where they had just absolutely sick balance between rush pass, right? And the offensive line was winning 1v1s, and they were creating just gashing lanes. And they had a guy who was athletic enough and kind of sharp enough to just knife. And they have that again with Kyren Williams. I cannot believe this guy matters as much.
He's a playmaker.
Does. I cannot believe it, but he looks amazing. And I gotta tell you, like the juice with the overall team.
Patrick beat me to the joke. The good Rams teams, right. Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk.
The greatest show. Big play,
Torrey Hall.
Yeah, right. The greatest show at Turf's not walking through that door. But I meant like under McVay, the best ones were the ones with Gurley, where they had such amazing balance, and they got that again. And they got a better quarterback now with Stafford, in my opinion. And they have a very, very, I just like the diversity in the wide receiver room, like the different things that each guy can do and the way
we haven't even talked about Tutu Atwell.
We haven't talked about Atwell. We haven't talked about Tyler Higbee. He's having a great season. Like this is a really, really, I just think this is, they are peaking at the right time. And you look at their schedule and like they won the games they needed to win to stay kind of in the mix. And they lost games that they were probably supposed to lose because they were up against either elite teams or they had Brett Rippon and under center, right? Like they lost the games they were supposed to lose and they won the games they were supposed to win. And now they're healthy and peaking and improving. And honestly, like you want an even crazier one than Rams winning the Super Bowl at 65-1. Byron Young, defensive rookie of the year, already has 5 sacks. If he has a game, if he goes off in this one up against some backup tackles and sacks Joe Flacco 2-3 times, like that'll be the talk on Monday. And it has been a while since Jalen Carter has been accruing counting stats, and Byron Young can get to 10 this year, and he's going to get consideration in that field. And I kind of can't believe he's 75-1.
I think the time is probably too short, but I don't hate the effort.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
it's not how you start; it's how you finish in the Rookie of the Year.
No, it's very, very true with awards. It is how you finish, and it just feels. And granted, the market doesn't always reflect how the voters actually feel. But it's just been so long since anyone's pushed, even Witherspoon, which Witherspoon can take a step back. So, and that's the thing too. Witherspoon and Carter have not. I mean, it's not both prime time, but it pretty much is. I mean, this is the 3:00 game the nation's watching. Yeah. They're not going to be watching Byron. That's the problem. He's up against the Philly. He doesn't have to have a good game. He just has to exist.
Yeah. Well, if the Rams blow out here and people will take notice, and then it's 2 blowouts in a row.
He needs some counting stats and a big win, like a shutout.
Nutflush. I thought I didn't like teams of little 5'3" players. Like, if you're gonna stock the entire wide receiver room with the same exact kind of prototypical player, then I'm out. If you're gonna put Tutu Atwell in there with possession guys and guys that can run crisp routes and guys that and solid tight ends, receiving tight ends, like, now we're talking. Like, he's perfectly Tutu Atwell, perfectly complementary piece to everything else they got in that receiving room. Anyway, Rams for me is a bet, and I might
have a small bet on like just Rams team total over, because it's gonna be so low.
I would just like to hear. I'm dying to be right on this and to hear people respond to the fact that Joe Flacco off the couch with a walking wounded offensive line and no one to throw to was only a 3.5 point dog on the road. Like, I'm dying to hear people kind of rectify that, because if this feels like the potential to be a very wrong price.
Well, and I think the adjustment that isn't getting made is from Garrett. Like,
sure.
A 50% Garrett is not Myles Garrett. He might as well not be out there.
Sure.
If he's not making a huge difference, and he's not, you can see that in game, and you can adjust your blocking schemes. You can adjust your, suddenly you're not chipping him anymore with the tight end because you don't need to. Like, suddenly it opens things up if you don't have to put an extra hat on him in some plays. Like, he makes a bigger difference to me than anything if he's not going at 100.
Yeah, people are asking why, Patrick, why is this moving against the Rams? To the degree I can tell you, people who are making a case for the Browns are doing so because of their style of defense against Stafford. And that might ultimately be the key, but they might not have to get very many points in here just to cover 3.5, because I'm old enough to remember Joe Flacco against the Miami Dolphins in Week 18 last year, Andy. That dude was over football. And you know what? And then he spent the first 10 weeks of this season on the couch.
He did get benched for Mike White at one point, man. And then they brought him back at the very end. Yeah. The man zone splits. Yeah. But see, you got an awful smart offensive schemer.
The Browns are going to need defensive touchdowns in this one, short fields. They're going to need every single bounce to go their way.
It's like, how did they beat the Steelers? They played all-world defense, won the field position game, and had one good drive.
That's right. They're going to need exaczly that. But they're going to also need Flacco.
That's the game plan the rest of the year.
Yeah, they're going to need Flacco not get strip sacked.
I'd be down at the Viper Room, man. I wouldn't.
So that's the other thing. Two super quick points here. Number one, it should be mentioned that the Browns defense is much better at home, where they have the crowd noise with them. That pass rush is like an all universe, right? On the road, it hasn't been the same. Those are just the facts. That's the stats. That's the statistical data, the empirical data, right? And number two, I think the Browns were right when they made the decision to stay in LA this week to avoid the travel demands of 2 trips across the country. But they really could have used a trip home and some of the home kind of medical remedies available to them, as opposed to being in a makeshift facility at UCLA this week and trying to get all their guys treatment and trying to get their guys right when they're sleeping in a hotel instead of at home, right? Like, they kind of got unlucky, I think, in that everybody's hurt and they're on the road, right?
Yeah, it's different, like staying out west when you have a torn labrum.
It's different staying out west. It's also different. I think if you break down the data a little bit of teams doing the week away, the home away from home, it's different at the beginning of the season than the end.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, it helps you kind of get a concentrated week of practice and get everybody on the same page, right? Whereas at the end of the season, it's kind of like, fuck, these guys need a vacation badly. They're all beat up. They need health and they need rejuvenation and a good night's sleep in their own beds more than they need.
They need like in the movie, like the montage of like the team having fun.
Yeah.
Rollerblading through the mall and going out for pizza.
Yeah. Like it did not work out well for the Patriots a couple years ago when they played Chargers Rams back to back. That second game, the Patriots were they looked so, that was the end of the season. They were so done. A couple examples of that I can point to, but that one really stands out. When it's been super successful for teams staying over, it's been like between weeks 1 and week 6. Anyway, moving on.
Something to watch for when you do the schedule one next year.
Yeah.
I probably won't play this game because I already got in bed with the Rams to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Kansas City at Green Bay. Green Bay opened 7, saw heavy action. This is down to 5.5 at some spots.
Wow.
I think that makes sense if you believe that Love is good. And I want your take on rewatching that one because it's been a couple weeks against bad defenses. And we're going to keep doing this thing. And this is how football works, guys. This is how life works. Nothing is black and white. It isn't just he got it. And it isn't just those defense sucks. It's a combination of the two. But I'm a lot closer to 50-50 than I thought I would be.
Yeah.
He doesn't look as lost. He's not missing the throws he was missing earlier in the year. It looks like he has a little more confidence. I still don't know if he's good. I don't know if it's ever going to be like a long-term good quarterback. But against a bad defense, that worked out. That said, these are very good coverage corners. This is a good secondary. This is kind of a good defense. It's at home, but it's against a better team. 7 probably was too much, but at this point, these numbers are about where we're at. I'm pretty close on this. Let me look what I have. I know this total is about where I need to be, especially with how those second halves have played out for KC at certain points. But I'm at 6.2. So keep it.
Right now, I have Green Bay as the 13th best offense and the 13th best defense. I think they're pretty damn average. I guess that's better than average. But the Green Bay Detroit game, I went back into the rewatch thinking I'm going to feel stupid for the bets that I made. And I actually didn't.
No, it's just a bad golf game part 2.
A bad golf game part 2 combined with the fact that if they don't go down early in that one, it's a very different game state, and they stick with the run attack more, and they're asking Goff to do less. And instead of playing into the teeth of the Packers defense, which is their very solid pass defense, they, instead of having to deal with, kind of aggressive pressure with the other team knowing you have to throw, the balance is very, very different, right? So I think ultimately it was the fluky fumble 6 was kind of the key, really. And in terms of like tilting the game state to where the Lions had to go away from
it got out of hand too fast. The game state just went to hell.
The game state went to hell, and they had to go away from their strength, which impacted the speaking of, we didn't even talk Lions in this one, right? We skipped Lions New Orleans. Anyway, don't worry about it. Linos -4. But I think they pivoted away from their game state. And that caused the game to kind of roll downhill the wrong way. Packers, on the other hand, I think we did learn that Love is for real. Like, I don't think he's going to ultimately be like just a world beater. I don't think he's going to move the needle for, championship equity for them. But he definitely looks like a guy that, can make a playoff run this year. I think the Packers lose this game, and I think that's when you bet Packers to make the playoffs, and I think that's Rams Packers 6-7. And I think that's a fun, that's a much more fun playoff field than Seahawks and Vikings. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we did skip that. We'll touch on that one last, and then we'll leave Monday Night Football like we do till Sunday.
Yeah.
Although if you do believe in this Jacksonville offense, you saw that. You saw what this defense is.
Cincinnati's looks quit like they have called it a season. And honestly, Cincinnati's better sort of losing at this point than getting a good draft pick.
So, and that's the fun part about that. And I do want to say one thing on Monday Night Football. So the total is coming down, but the Jags line is getting bet out, which is saying that Cincinnati is not expected to score as much, which I still am not a buyer on this Jacksonville defense.
Yeah, I am with you there. All right, the Chiefs
out in the hallway or something.
I laid the 6 with the Chiefs. Not like my favorite play by any stretch of the imagination this week, but I do think the Chiefs match up pretty well against the Packers defensively. I think the Packers have some injury issues that still need to be sorted out, and they're not going to be at peak until next week. And I think this is a huge step up for Jordan Love in terms of what he's going to be asked to do against a much better pass defense, especially. So I can see a step backwards for Mr. Love this week before ultimately a couple more steps forward. And it's not a strong read, but I like the fact that you're getting Pat Mahomes under a touchdown here, even though, yes, it's on the road and it's against a team that the decent-ish pass defense. There were some signs of life from the Chiefs pass offense against the Raiders, and it might have been Raiders, but it might have been Chiefs. And I think that this is the time of season that they're going to try to continue to build and kind of gain a little bit of confidence on the offensive side of the ball. And really nothing bad to say about the way that the Chiefs are defending right now. Packers not getting a ton on the ground. That's the one place you can really attack the Chiefs. Nick Bolton available to come back in practice, maybe available in this game, matters for the run defense for the Chiefs. Really, I just think the Chiefs defense can keep the Packers under 20, which means Chiefs -6 is very live. 27-20 is where I project this one ultimately. So maybe I should just play the over. But in the case that the Packers really don't show up score wise, and it's like 27-13 or something, I would feel a lot better with Chiefs -6 in hand. So Chiefs for me, light bet. Linus, you got thoughts?
Yeah, Lino's defense isn't great, but what is left for the wide receiver core for New Orleans? Olave is still in the concussion protocol. Thomas is done. Like, it hasn't been good with Carr probably still playing injured. It's at home, and there's a very loud child outside right now. So I'll probably just cede the floor so I can mute. Maybe go out there and give them the proper discipline kids need. Spare the rod, Drew. The weather in Green Bay, I hadn't seen that was going to be too bad. It's been shitty.
Nah, I don't think it could be like snow.
I think it's been cold, but I mean, Kansas City's kind of a cold weather team.
Yeah.
So Olave did practice today, Matthew. You got that correct, but he still has steps to pass before the game. So it's the short window, which you don't get through often. Practicing is a good sign, but it's not looking like it's a sure thing that he will play. They really need him to play too, otherwise they're down to like the back of the cupboard, the crumbs at the back of the cupboard, the wide receiver room. Against a team that you should be able to attack a little. I don't have a strong take here other than I think the Lions are able to score some points. It's indoors, it's on the road, and they really need to bounce back a little offensively. Goff should be able to eat. No Lattimore. You have the good wide receivers. You have a good young tight end. Why not? So I had looked at Detroit team total over, but man, it's a lie.
Okay. I played a little line.
I know you played -4?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know these guys. I feel like the Saints defense is completely falling apart. Demario Davis must be hurt and playing through injury because he's been very ineffective. No Marshawn Lattimore, which has been a big problem. No pass rush. Cam Jordan's been hurt. I have no idea how the Saints get off the field. I think the Lions can probably just run it down their throats. the same way that the Falcons did. In fact, if I was the Lions, I would just go ahead and put on the Falcons tape and just say, okay, guys, let's go get them.
Well, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Like I mentioned.
And then we did that.
They ran for like 250. It wasn't all the way there, but it was close to 250 yards rushing.
Yeah, something's very, very wrong with the defense and personnel and health and stuff. That's not even to say the wide receiving core is down to 8. You're down to the absolute dregs in New Orleans now. So
I do think too what we've seen from Goff over the last like couple years, the good Goff is more indicative of what we should be getting than what we saw the last 2 weeks. It was bad, but he's better than that. I mean, everybody has bad games, so
yeah. Lions just have one of the best rushing attacks going right now, and the Saints they're in troubles. All right, let's call the show. Good job,
Kamara probably has 17 targets. I mean, that's
hopefully
the game
Brian
plan
Branch
anyway.
neutralizes him. Yeah,
I mean, even with Thomas and Olave in, like that was the game plan.
That's actually the one thing that has me hesitant from getting super excited about the Lions here is that the loss of Olave and Shaheed is kind of muted by the fact that they weren't using them effectively anyway. So who cares if they're not available, right? I know that's stupid, but like when the Saints were at a deficit, at least they had those guys. Now, if they are down in this game, I'm not sure how they come back.
Doghouse says the Jags defense stinks. Bengals team total over 13.5. I've been tempted by that 38 because I don't think the Jags defense stinks.
Their second half defense certainly is not good.
I don't think it's as good of a defense as people are making it out to be, considering the game states and then who they've played. Mm-hmm. And if you watch those games, it's coming together at times, but it's still very up and down. And obviously Cincinnati's just a garbage fire on defense. I'm not sure that total coming down is starting to tempt me, and I feel like I'm gonna have a bad time betting an over 38 in that one.
Jake Browning, good luck to you. Although I will agree with you that the Jags defenses are currently right now I have them 22nd. Interesting. All right, let's go, man. Good show.
Guys, appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up. Enjoy your day. We'll catch you tomorrow for the Cowboys offensive outburst. All over the Seahawks, guys. See you tomorrow.
I just refuse to acknowledge the existence of the New Orleans.
The Saints are no longer an NFL franchise. They've been demoted.
Nope, they lost to the Falcons. We won the rivalry game. Road return leg doesn't count.